And we're simply going to start with the introductions from my left to my stage left to right, simply because that's how I'm going to do it that way. And then we'll ask do other questions in different orders. Our first candidate for Congressional District 11 is Eddie Adams. And welcome, Mr. Adams.
Good evening. I must tell you, and I'm going to open by saying God bless you for coming and taking an interest in your country. America and her greatness is ahead of her, not behind her. The fact that you are here engaging in this process means you care about your country. Within the last 18 months, we have went from being a zero, fully capitalist free market system to having the federal government own 18% of the capital in this country. That's not a good thing. My name is Eddie Adams, Jr. We're running for U.S. Congress, Congressional District 11. We intend to take some honor, integrity, and service to Washington. And along with that, I intend to take a Bible with me and take back the U.S. Constitution. Because those are things that are sorely being missed in Washington, D.C., and taking the voice of the people back to Washington. Because we have representatives who are not representing anybody. The people that they're representing definitely don't live in this congressional district, because this was called a cigar city. And the representative from the cigar city is responsible for taxing Have a Tampa cigar into extinction. Only 500 people lost their job. And the cry in Washington is jobs, jobs, jobs. But they're not producing any jobs. They're only producing misery. So the equal distribution of misery is what we're getting. It's not the equal distribution of wealth. And again, my name is Eddie Adams, Jr. I am here to go to Washington to give you a voice in Washington, D.C. Yes. Thank
you. All right, our next candidate will be Tony Buntyn, and you're on the clock, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Tony Buntyn, and I'm running for Congress, District 11. And this is my very first entry into politics. I spent 31 years in the military reserve, serving our country. And just last year, I became so alarmed at the speed that the Congress was forcing legislation on us, taking over the part of the banking industry, taking over part of the auto industry. This is not the free country that I've fought for and defended all these years. This country is in trouble. And it's so great to see so many Americans coming out and hosting these events, participating in these events, waving flags. It's so great to see that. My wife and I became very alarmed. The health care bill that almost passed last summer, H.R. 3200, was not the thing, but it was kind of the last straw. The takeover of the auto industry, the takeover of banking, the bailouts, naming companies that were too large to fail. Failure is part of capitalism. You have to let the weak fail. When a company fails, other investors will pick up the pieces that are viable and will continue working. We don't need the government stepping in to fix the problems, because the government is the problem. It's not the solution. Our economy is the entity that needs health care. We're plagued by, that's the end of it?
That'd be you. Thank you very much.
I had a really good comment.
Next is Tom Castellano. You're on the clock, sir.
Tommy Castellano. I'm a small independent businessman who just happens to be a Republican. I believe it's time to end wasteful government spending. I think it's also time to lower some of the taxes that the government has created. And we've gone to a system that we have taxation without representation. Nobody's representing the small businessman no more. They do not, they've never made a payroll, they've never paid workers' compensation, they've never paid the liability insurance. They really have taken new steps into taking away our freedoms. This is the first year that I felt in my life that we're in danger of losing our Constitution and our civil rights. Our children don't stand a chance. With the $1 trillion deficits that we have, they can't even calculate the interest that we're paying. How do you calculate interest on $14 trillion? You can't, because it happens so fast that they'll never be able to pay it back. They've sold our futures, they've sold our children's futures, and we need to get to Congress to take it back. And we need a lot of people in Congress, not just one representative from District 11. We need a lot of new people there so that we can say, when they tell us, you don't know how the system works, we tell them back, no, you don't understand how it works, because look what you've given us. You've given us a system that we've mortgaged our country forever, just about. China, if we owe such a big debt to China, do they also own our foreign policy? And if they don't, is that something that we really want to find out? I don't think so. I think what we need to do is to start balancing our budget, and I think we need to start with the Congress. I think we need to give them at least a 5% across the board cut in pay, no more automatic pay cuts.
I'll take 5.
Do 20. No, I stopped at 5, maybe 15.
I think we're going to hear more from Mr. Castellano. And Mr. Tim Curtis.
Thank you, good evening, and buenas noches to my new friend, Senora Elena Rodriguez. It's good to see you. I'm going to do something that I don't often do, and I'm going to be ahead of time. I'm going to introduce myself real quickly, and that buzzer's not going to go off before I'm done. My name is Tim Curtis, and I'm a candidate for the Florida 11th Congressional District, and I'm running in the Democrat primary. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I grew up here in Tampa, born in Pennsylvania, but grew up here in Tampa. Graduated from King High School, ran off and played Marine for 20 years. Had a great, great life. This country is the best, no doubt about it. I came back home, started a small business, and immediately started creating jobs. I'm going to quote Evan Bayh. I've created more jobs in my UPS store than the entire Congress did last year. Some may find this hard to believe, but I am a member of the Democrat Party. And I don't really like labels, and if you'll go to my website on Saturday, you'll be able to read a piece that I've written it, I'm going to publish it on Saturday. You'll hear all about me and labels and why I think labels don't work. So, and the reason very simply is this, because labels divide, principles unite. Folks, we have more in common than what separates us. And that's what's going to get us to Washington. Very simply, it's not, thank you, it's not Democrat principles. I'm a member of the Democrat Party, and it's not Republican principles. I know I've watched the Republican principles at work as well, and I think that there's great agreement on that. But they are uniquely American principles. That's what we have to have in Washington, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm running because right now that's not the case. Our plan, very simply, is to get out and introduce ourselves, our principles and values. The buzzer hadn't finished buzzing, and I stopped.